is the 37. Pressure is on. He steps up, and he goes down. And it was Bruce Irvin and Najee Good. Irvin, of course, 14 sacks a year ago. He was one of the big headliners coming into this season for West Virginia.
He's a guy that is now playing every down. Last season, he was a passing situation, pass rushing specialist. Now he plays the run, and he goes after the quarterback.
Great point. He probably didn't have a sense of humor at halftime last week. Bridgewater's going down. 11th sack for West Virginia. Bruce Irvin. That's 17 and a half now in less than 2 years since arriving in Morgantown. Loss of 11.
And sometimes it hasn't always resulted in sacks for Bruce Irvin in 2011 like it did last year. But if you can affect the quarterback in a way that you know he's on the edge, and he gets help from Doug Rigg on that play as well, but he's coming off the edge. Once he gets that speed rush and he has that shoulder down, he's going to win that battle on the edge 9 times out of 10.
So now Bridgewater faces a third and a long way to go. 3rd and 19. Again, he's going down, and again, it's number 11, Bruce Irvin.
Mike, the key is 3rd and long. Bruce Irvin can pin his ears back, and they've scaled back the playing time for Bruce since the UConn game. They want to use him more as a specialist like they did last year. And you can see it's no match on the outside for Jamon Brown, the right tackle. Bruce Irvin just dips that shoulder, the speed rush up the field on consecutive plays to get Teddy Bridgewater.
He gave opponents problems coming off the edge, also slid inside in nickel situations. I like that. But look, Bruce Irvin didn't get an opportunity to really talk about him. Disruptive playmaker. Guy had a big grade on him heading into the season. Didn't have the production that we wanted to see, but part of that was because they had him at defensive end. He is a guy that is a natural stand-up guy, in my opinion.
A 3-4 stand-up.
Stand-up guy, comes off the edge, just hunts the passer. Look at those long arms. Look at the build. There we go.
We got a 4-4.
4-4-3.
Yep.
Now when we start talking about guys looking for situational players, so much of the game is changing where defensive coordinators are creative in how they get certain packages on the field. Seeing him used as just a guy that is primary rushing off the edge, I expect him to be one of the guys that really shows up.
And remember, you see the stride count there, 19. It was something that you spoke about when we were talking to Stephen Hill.
Here comes the commissioner of the National Football League with the latest Seattle Seahawks.
I like this drama. I like not knowing. I don't want to see that. This is fun. This is fun.
With the 15th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Bruce Irvin, defensive end, West Virginia.
You talked about it, Mike.
There is the first, and Michael Irvin's hitting me because I talked about this kid yesterday.
Yes.
This might be the most natural pass rusher in the entire draft. He's only 245 pounds. He's got an explosive get-off, and he's an explosive player, but there are red flags off the field. The kid's had a lot of trouble. Several teams have taken him off their board. At 245 pounds, he can't play at first down for you. He's not a run defender. He's not stout at the point of attack, but he's the most explosive edge rusher in this draft. And Pete Carroll has never been afraid of taking on a problem
You
job.
had him with a second-round grade.
Breaking down the Seattle Seahawks draft, it was one of the more interesting and talked about drafts, I think, of any team this year. Dan, when you look at just in terms of the needs they had, how do you think they did filling spots?
Well, you know, I guess they did all right in that regard. I mean, they came into the draft really wanting to improve their speed at the linebacker position and to improve their pass rush, both inside and outside. And so theoretically they did that. Whether they picked the right guys to do that, I'm not quite sure.
Overall, when you look at all their picks, what was your favorite pick they made?
The second pick that they took, Bobby Wagner, I like him a lot. He's probably my favorite out of Utah State. He's been called a tackle machine. He should be an excellent replacement for David Hawthorne, who's moved on, but who was their leading tackler each of the last 3 seasons. So I think he's real good as far as filling that linebacker need. And they also got another linebacker a little later on. Now, that first pick, Bruce Irvin, you had Quentin Coples, you had Melvin Ingram. Irvin, he's got tremendous natural skills, but boy, are there some red flags with this guy. As recently as this past March, he was arrested. So, he's just a real gamble for greatness here.
Is he your least favorite pick?
No, Russell Wilson.
Oh, yeah? Well, they had a lot to choose from, I guess.
Yeah, they do have a lot to choose. 7 of their 10 picks on defense, and defense is the strength of the team. And then the offensive guys, the one that they took, Russell Wilson, I think he's a wonderful story. I love watching him play. But why in the world are they going after a quarterback when they seem to have 3 pretty good ones on the roster, including their $27 million man, Matt Flynn?
Yep.
I don't get it.
Yeah, just signed a quarterback. They still have DeVaris Jackson there, a developmental guy, and Josh Porter. So now Russell Wilson with a 3rd-round pick. So when you look at the whole thing, it doesn't sound like you're overly impressed with what they did. What grade are you giving?
Well, I'm going to give them a C. You know what? Make it a C-. All
right.
I'm going to tell you something. We gave them a C- last year, and I think if you look back, they might have had the best draft of anybody last year. They ended up with 4 starters, plus Doug Baldwin and Ricardo Laquette. So, I give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right, yeah, that's the thing with this. You never really know in the draft. It may look one way and then it turns out another. We'll just have to wait and see on these guys. That's what we're looking at for the Seattle Seahawks draft. Dan gave him a C-. I think he's being a little bit generous. I think he wanted to give him worse than that. We have grades for every team, though. You can check them out at ProFootballWeekly.com.
He's out. John Kuhn's the back third. He's in good pressure by the first-round pick. Bruce Irvin sacking Rodgers.
Pete Carroll told us it's just a matter of time before Bruce Irvin impacts the game. Watch this power rush. Unbelievable display of get off and power. Watch what he does with his inside arm. He just tosses the right tackle of the Green Bay Packers out of the way and makes a sack. That's his first full career sack. You got him and Clemens working on other sides. That's impressive.
Second and 20, Irvin coming inside. Got Rodgers, has his 2nd sack. Beat Balaga again.
They got to get help for Balaga. If they think they can single block Irvin right now, they're mistaken. Watch Irvin get off the ball, up the field, and underneath Balaga. And they have speed to track down Aaron Rodgers. And how about this?
This is Peter Schrager for FoxSports.com. One of the most buzzworthy teams all NFL offseason has been the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks went out and had some huge signings during the free agent period and also made a splash by trading for Percy Harvin from the Minnesota Vikings. But today the news wasn't buzzworthy in a positive way. Yet Seattle's 2nd-year speedster defensive end Bruce Irvin has been suspended for the first 4 games of the 2013 NFL season. He violated the league's policy on performance-enhancing substances, and he has now either exhausted his appeal options or is not going to appeal. Either way, he apologized for his mistake, and the statement was released by the Seahawks. He says this: "I want to apologize to my teammates, coaches, and Seahawks fans for making a mistake when I took a substance that is prohibited in the NFL without a medical exemption." He continues, "I am extremely disappointed in the poor judgment I showed and take full responsibility for my actions. There will be no appeal." Now, Seattle also has lost Chris Clemens back in the playoffs, against the Redskins for an injury, torn ACL. They went out and they signed Michael Bennett and Cliff Averill, but we don't know how those guys will adapt to the Seattle system. A lot of high hopes for Bruce Irvin. But this is a major hit. This is a ding. And for the first 4 games, he will be out. This is a team that went to the NFC divisional round a season ago, lost a heartbreaker to the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of buzz all offseason about the Seahawks. Many have picked them to win the NFC West. Finally, though, a piece of bad news for the Seahawks, and fans might be concerned. No Bruce Irvin, first 4 games. That was the big news in the NFL on Friday.
Talk about being back on the field with all the guys and just how it felt out there today.
It felt good, bro. Last night I woke up happy because, I ain't been around my brothers in a minute, kind of like a kid day before Christmas. So, just happy to be back, happy to contribute, ready to handle my business.
In your words, how to best summarize this whole offseason, where you want to play, the contract situation, how you feel about everything?
I want to be in Seattle. Obviously, my words got misinterpreted. 2012, I had a lot of questions coming out before the draft. So, Pete and John, they stuck their neck out there for me and took me in the first round. So, why wouldn't I want to be here? So, I'm from Atlanta. My whole family's still in Atlanta. That's every kid's dream to play for their home team. But, right now I'm in Seattle and I love being in Seattle. And hopefully that's for the rest of my career.
What message did you get when they didn't pick up the option? What did that tell you? What
I got the message. It's a business. It is what it is. That don't change my mindset. I'm still gonna go out here and have the best season I've had so far. I can't do nothing about what they're doing upstairs. All that'll take care of itself.
While you weren't here, what were you doing? Were you working out somewhere?
Yes, sir. I was working out in Atlanta.
So were you shocked when you heard they weren't picking up the option?
Somewhat, but then again, it is what it is. They got a lot of people to take care of. You got Bobby Wagner, who deserves his money, Russell, who deserves his money. So, like I said, it's a business, and, that stuff will work itself out.
Does it change your mindset at all going into this year? I mean, do you feel like you're playing for a contract here or just playing for...
I'm always playing for a contract, yeah. It gave me extra motivation. I can say that. I got a little complacent, and I feel like that really put a chip on my shoulder, and I'm gonna go out here and handle my business. I've been busting my tail since I've been away from here, and I feel like I'm ready to do what I got to do.
Anything else, guys?
Does it lessen the likelihood that you'll play here another year after this year, though, because they didn't pick up your option?
I don't. When I talked to John, they told me they want me here. So he's a man of his word, just like I'm a man of my word. So like I said, that stuff will take care of itself. I'm just gonna go out here and have the best season that I've had so far since I've been in the league.
Would you hope something would get done before this season at all?
Like I said, that'll take care of itself. My play on the field this year will handle all of that.
Thanks, Bruce.
The Seattle Seahawks are not expected to pick up the fifth-year option on outside linebacker Bruce Irvin's contract. The news was first reported by NFL.com late Wednesday. It means Irvin would become a free agent after playing out his rookie contract in 2015. The team has until Sunday to pick up the option, which would cost $7.8 million in 2016. Irvin, a first-round draft pick out of West Virginia in 2012, will make $1.6 million this season.
Breaking news here on NFL Network. The fifth-ranked free agent on NFL.com's top 99 free agents of this free agency period has now found a home. Linebacker Bruce Irvin, who has played 4 seasons with the Seahawks, reuniting with his former coach in Seattle, Ken Norton, who is now the defensive coordinator in Oakland. More on this move, which Ian Rappaport tweeted came out of nowhere. We now join Ian Rappaport. What's the story?
Yeah, this is a stunner. There was so much talk about Bruce Irvin going to Atlanta, where, by the way, he lives, joining some of his old coaches with the Atlanta Falcons or maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars. No, it was the Oakland Raiders who made a strong push for Bruce Irvin, for him to play opposite Khalil Mack and form what is likely to be one of the NFL's foremost and nastiest sack tandem, to play with Ken Norton Jr., who's now the defensive coordinator in Oakland, who coached him in Seattle. This is now Oakland's sack duo. It is Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin from Seattle to Oakland.
I know a lot of Raiders fans, my brother won't stop blowing up my phone, are still waiting for someone there in the secondary. But Bruce Irvin's a pretty good get. Former teammate of yours.
Bruce. Good job, man.
Now reunited with Ken Norton,
yes,
who was his linebacker coach in Seattle. How do you think him and Khalil Mack coming off the edge, kind of addition will that be for this team?
How do you block them? Where do you slide the line? If one of them is a linebacker, where do you put the back? You know what I mean? I think they're going to create problems for opposing offenses. How do you block them? And just to know the journey of Bruce Irvin. Man, I played with him, spent a lot of time with him. I seen this kid grow up, mature into a young man. And now he gets to start fresh with another team, an up-and-coming young team Talked to Coach Norton last night. Coach Norton is excited to get his hands on him. I think Bruce Irvin is going to be a very impactful player for the Oakland Raiders, and he's going to have a career year this year, especially playing opposite Khalil Mack, who, and many people think, is always up for the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he's a big, strong, physical, and he's versatile, Mike. You can use him. You can play him off the ball. You can cover. You watch Seattle do a lot of different things with him. On third down, you can put his hand in the dirt. And you said it brings a little bit more to that pass rush because now you can't slide the protection or double team Khalil Mack, who is another player that's interchangeable. You can move him around too. Right. I would even put these guys on the same side and run games with them. You have that versatility with these two type of players. And being from Ken Norton and another guy, defensive-minded Jack Del Rio, they always want to build and get strong through the trenches. And playing against him my career, they want to be strong up front. Adding Bruce Irvin does that.
It's tough being in Seattle because there's a lot of big names on that defense. So a lot of times he didn't get enough attention and enough shine, but he's very disruptive. When you watch their highlights, he is everywhere. And Willie, like you said, you can stand him up or you can put his fingers in the dirt. He is extremely versatile, and he has that dog. And, we talk about it, but there's certain guys, when they put that helmet on, they get between those white lines. That's the dude you want to be standing next to. And he's one of those individuals which kind of fits that brand of Oakland Raiders football.
And I tell you one thing, guys, during training camp, when you're tired, you don't really want to be there, it's the dog days of summer, Bruce is the guy that's going to come out there without his shirt on, make stuff funny, lighten the mood, run around, have energy that you don't know where it's going to come from. A big-time get for the Oakland Raiders, man.
This feels like a team that is right on the precipice, potentially. They've got a lot of big moves that they've made in the last few years. Now they have a few holes to plug, and they have certainly started plugging.